that. By doing that, then, we now will have a complete loop in this area of the community. So again, here's the existing walking trail on Kingsborough, and then you go past Wellington, and this is what you deal with. And what you'll see is most people are walking in the road. Very unsafe condition. Kingsborough is a very heavily traveled road. Druid Hills. Right now, you can see it's a chain link fence. We'd like to go to more modern steel fencing that you see at most new pools. That'll give it a nice fresh look. See these globe lights? Those are very 70s. We'd like to change those lights out. Then here's the cabana that we'd like to replace. And then over here, we have a stage area. We'd like to cover that with a pavilion. I'd like to add landscape over here between the pool fence and the parking area. So that will really give the Druid Hills pool a facelift. And then Spring Lake is one of our lakes that needs silt removal. So you can see all this vegetation here. That's due to the silt that's in the lake right there. Many of y'all have seen these parking lots. There's your tennis parking lot. That's a chip and seal parking lot. We're going to pave that and stripe it. This is Legends restaurant parking area with multiple white lines. So this whole area is going to be repaved and restriped as well. Sanitation truck. There's the old. We're getting calls from residents that they thought the truck was on fire because there was so much smoke, exhaust coming out of the truck. So it was clearly a safety issue. So we've actually been leasing this truck for the last 2 months. We'll continue to lease it until January and then purchase it in January. All the lease payments actually go towards the purchase price. So it's actually a good deal. The administration office. Right now, our accounting staff, most of our accounting staff is upstairs in an area that really was designed to be storage. In fact, I can't walk up there without bending over because I'll hit my head on the ceiling right here. So we currently have a single wide trailer behind our purchasing department is in. We're going to move that to maintenance and then get a triple wide trailer so we can house purchasing, accounting department, and some other people. So just make for a much better work environment for our accounting staff. Now let's talk about notes payable real quick. In total, principal payments about $749,000. You see wastewater treatment $379, community center about $200, and then Stonehenge about $170,000. At the end of 2012, project our balances to be about $8 million. Okay? And these are the various terms of the notes. Again, we anticipate a new loan third quarter of 2012 for the disposal system expansion at the wastewater treatment plant. So now when you bring it all together, you bring all those funds together, the sewer fund, the golf fund, the operations fund, the capital fund, this is what it looks like on a consolidated basis. Our revenues this year, about $8.7 million, going up to about $19.8 million. So about a $1 million increase. Our expenses going from about $15.7 to about $16.9. So about $1.2 million. So our excess of revenues or expenses before depreciation. So this is really our cash generated. And that's really the key focus next year is cash flow, both on an annual basis, but then also what is our cash position at the end of the year. That's the real key. So going from about $3 million this year to about $2.9 million next year. Capital expenditures, only spending about $1.4 million this year. That's actually too little. We're taking it up to about $3.8 million next year, so about $2.4 million increase. Our principal debt payments, about $50,000 increase. And so in 2011, projecting a surplus of about $907,000. And that was by design to build up the reserve funds. And now in 2011, we're going to have a cash flow deficit for that year about $1.7 million. Basically, we're going to be dipping into those reserve funds. You know, 900,000 of it came from this year, but dipping into those reserve funds to take care of some of this deferred maintenance and some of these capital expenditures that have not been done in the past. So at the end of the day, though, our cash account balances at the end of 2011 projecting about $6 million. We'll again draw that down about $1.7 million. We'll end up being about 4.3 to 4.4 at the end of 2012. And that's still very healthy. In fact, that's about 25% of our consolidated expenses for the year. And so if you're in that 20 to 25% range of the association, you're doing very well. You're very strong financially, you're very healthy. I've seen some associations as low as 10%. So that's okay, but it's really not as healthy as having almost 25% of your operating expenditures in your reserve accounts. Last thing I want to talk about is a new program that we're going to have next year. It's our preferred member card. I think many of y'all are probably familiar with the current preferred card, where it's basically a debit card, and by giving us some money, loading up on that card, you get discounts, whether it be golf, tennis, or what have you. Additionally, we've got a lot of punch cards out there for different things, for pickleball, for pool, etc. Remember, one of the first events I went to here, one of our property owners said, if you do nothing else, you have to do something about these cards. He pulls out his wallet. He must have had 7 different cards for different discounts in Fairfield, Glade. So he said, is there any way we can reduce this number? So we started talking about it, and it really came to the conclusion that we've got a member ID card. It's got a barcode. Why not have an all-in-one member ID card, preferred debit card? Again, this is a debit card. You give us money, you load up that debit card, then you can use that throughout the property for anything. So that's the game plan. We're going to roll that out in January of 2012. With this debit card now, again, right now with the golfers, they can only use it in golf. Tennis, you can only use it in tennis. The game plan now is that you have this debit card and you can use it anywhere in Fairfield, Glade where we have a point of sale location. So you can use it for dining, you can use it for tennis, you can use it for golf, you can use it for greens. To the extent that we give discounts for preferred card holders, you'll get those discounts. So we have those in tennis, we have those in golf. We don't have those in food and beverage. We probably won't have those as a general rule in food and beverage. However, we will have some specials every now and then where if you are a preferred card holder, then you get a discount for some event in food and beverage. So the idea is one community, one card, takes care of everything. No need to carry cash or use credit cards. You can just add dollars to your preferred card and pay for everything at the club. And you can add those dollars at any of those locations that have a point of sale unit. Now again, this is going to be specific. There will be some places like the snack bars, for example, where we don't have the scanners to be able to do that there. That's something we're going to look at. So there will be some areas you can't use it, but for the most part, you'll be able to use it in most of the areas. Again, we talked about the additional discounts, and we feel like this will be a lot more convenient for y'all and clearly have some savings. So we'll have some brochures on that at the end of this meeting to take away, and there'll be more to come in the near future. As I say, we're rolling that out in January 2012. Okay, that is it. First of all, I want to thank y'all for supporting your club. The fact that y'all are here indicates that you're interested, you're engaged, and you're probably big supporters of the club, so we appreciate that. We're now going to go to the Q&A session. Again, this session is just focused on the budget. Okay, so only to the extent you have questions on the 2012 budget, please come to the microphone in the middle, and you can address your question to me, one of the senior management team members, a board member, whatever you like. I'll try and take most of them, but I've talked a lot here, and you're probably ready for somebody else to talk. So please, come to the microphone. And then, before we do that, we can hand out those schedules too. And maybe if some of the senior management team members can help her out. These are schedules that kind of the budget package that gives you a little more detail that you can take away with you. Look, feel free to take a look at them now, ask any questions, and then, as I say, feel free to contact me. Contact senior management team member if it's questions in particular about golf operation or what have you. Also board members. And Aaron, you have you have a preferred card? Okay. And those we can probably, is there a table in the back, Aaron? Okay. We'll just put the preferred card flyer on the coffee table, so you can grab one of those as you leave. But feel free to ask me questions about that as well. We'll let people get situated, and we'll let you get going. Okay, yes, sir.
My name is Paul Anderson. I was wondering, the trash monthly has that changed at all?
No, sir. Good question. That's going to remain at $7 a month.
And I didn't have this handout, so I don't know what slide it was, but the first line of the slide said community assessment, and it was about $360,000. I'm assuming that that's that's largely the monthly assessment increase. And the question is, the monthly assessment increase that you show would be 2 to 3 times as large as that community assessment increase that was shown on that slide.
Okay. Yeah, I think that relates to the fact that 25% of your assessment is going to the capital fund. And it's kind of a cumulative effect, so it's not just 25% of the $5 increase, but it's 25% of the total, $44.50 a month goes to the capital fund. So that's probably the difference. But let me go to that slide, I think.
It was the first line on the slide.
Okay, how's on the community? Yeah, the increase for the operations fund is $324,000. That is just the 75% of the $5 increase. The other 25% is going into the capital fund.
That's still, I'm doing mental calculations here, but that still doesn't quite compute on that basis. It seems to me that 75%, that'd be $3.75.
That's correct.
And if you multiply that by the number of units times the number of months, that would be, seems to be about twice that $320,000.
Regina, just go to the microphone, Regina. Yep.
What we have to do is take that off on things that we have. That's the first.
Now, isn't the other factor too, you have the various tiers of lots. So not every lot, I'm not sure if you did that.
Nevertheless, considerably more of it.
Yeah, you have to offset that with the 2,300 number that Bob's talking about as non-payers. Offset that against that. Because we don't have all 18,000 payers.
It still seems to me that does not compute. And I'd like to see five.
Yeah, I'll be glad to sit down.
Is that the slide you're referring to?
That's right.
Okay. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Bill Nissen. My wife and I are relatively new to Glade as well. And so I got three things. The first one, I'm not too sure if it's something that the Glade board or Glade can necessarily address, but the number of just dead trees you see as you drive around, and we recognize they're on lots and stuff like that, but that just leaves out of us as a quality and appearance thing. So just put it out there. I don't know if the board's had the opportunity to discuss it. I mean, a lot of people live here a lot longer than I have, so I would imagine that that's good as well. So I just put that out as a comment.
Okay.
Golf fund and upgrade. Certainly appreciate, the bathroom, number 15. Is there any thought about putting a walking bridge right at the green, number 15 in Stonehenge? Because, at least 2 or 3 out of my force, we always get up by the bridge or up by the creek, then gotta walk all the way back and just see it back.
Part of that course improvement fund, each golf course is going to get a certain amount of that course improvement fund. That is part of one of Stonehenge's expenses that will be spent this way.
Great. Okay, great, thank you. And the third thing, the $45,000 for Microsoft upgrade, I certainly hope that includes bringing somebody in as a consultant to educate your staff, because going from 2003 to 2010, you're coming out of the dark ages, and the sunlight's going to hit you square in the eyes. It's going to take a major hit to get used to that.
Oh, you're correct. We've already had some training sessions for the various staff, and those will continue in 2012 as we add 2010 to those computers. But yeah,
Right.
you're absolutely correct. Other questions? Don, if you could go to the microphone, sorry if I can hear you. Thank you. I think he's got a golf token question, Steve, so I'll let you handle this.
I guess the question is regarding the new token machines. What's going to happen to all the tokens that are out currently, that we all hoard in our golf bags?
Better start using them quick. Now, what we'll do, all 4 machines will be the same. Now, whether or not I can keep them to be the same token or not, I won't know that until I get to Florida and actually evaluate all the machines. The intention, and that's a good question, because that's one of the things that just bugs the heck out of me. Because we buy tokens twice a year to the tune of about 1,000 tokens a time. And right now we've got about 30 tokens between Heatherhurst. So they do get evaporated somehow. I don't know where they go, but we'll have to come up with some kind of plan, but it won't be a dollar for dollar transfer. People have had, and this will probably occur in April as far as the actual new machines getting into place. So I'd start using up the ones that you have as you can, and then we'll come up with some type of plan if we can't use the same tokens. I'm not sure that we won't be able to use the same tokens.
Okay, thank you. Second question, Bob. It's good to see that the walking trails were addressed this year. 2 years ago, when we ran the member surveys, walking trails overwhelmingly were the number one item that the membership would like to see more of. And my question is there going to be a master plan developed for walking trails for the entire community and some long-range commitment to having those trails extend beyond where they currently are?
That will be something we look at as part of that master planning process for the whole community next year. Yes, that's clearly a major minimum.
Hi, I'm Keith Kurz, just moved in here a couple of months ago. And one of the things that bothered me just a bit about the budgeting was the reference to the sewer treatment upgrade. It's going to be third quarter, with no mention of what the potential cost of that is. Either a ballpark number. I know you may not have the actual cost at this point, but I think it's important for the members to know what they may be facing here in another year. Did someone address that at least in a range of $1 million to $5 million?
It's probably a broad range, $2 to $4 million. And that's something that actually, being new, you wouldn't be aware that they had a large town hall meeting to discuss this actually over a year ago. And then as we've worked through things over the course of last year, Tim Martin, new director of community services, coming on board this late August, really said, okay, it's time to take a fresh look at that whole system. Bruce Evans, our wastewater treatment plant supervisor, has done a lot of good things with the disposal fields, with the I&I infiltration, such that we've been able to defer doing anything, and it's given Tim more time to really study what our needs are with the engineer. So yeah, it's hard to say at this point in time, but
I
real broad
understand
range. Yeah.
that aspect, but it was just the silence, I guess, that bothered me a little bit about not giving anybody, or at least in this session, any insight as to the potential cost. Because you start talking 2 to 4 million. 4 million, I believe, is the number that's going to be left in the capital reserve.
Yes, but that's why whatever we do, we need to borrow money to do it.
The other thing I noticed was, has any attempt or thought been given to refinancing any of the notes?
Yes.
The interest rates that were displayed today. Everything's so low, typically, interest-wise right now. I think there could be some potential benefit there for lowering those costs.
Yes, that is something we'll be looking at in 2012, especially as we look to do a loan for the wastewater treatment plant. Because you see, we already have another loan there, so we've already been talking with the bank about rolling those together in some fashion and really looking at all loans that we have and see if there's a way to save some money there. So definitely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Carol Stinger, and just to expand on the wastewater treatment, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought when we attended that meeting last year, there was a projection of rate increases to pay for the work that was to be done with the drain fields and so forth. And we were assessed initially an increase, and I thought it was going to increase throughout a certain period of time, years. And are these new increases in addition to those that were projected from that initial meeting?
Yeah, there was the increase that you had last year. Part of that was related to the disposal system. And that money, in essence, has really been going into the reserve funds for the wastewater treatment plant. And again, recognizing that we don't know exactly what we're going to be doing, that's why we did not do any increase in 2012 for the sewer. But we do anticipate there probably will be some increases in 2013 because of the loan and things of that nature.
I thought the assessment went into 2013.
Yes.
Is it on?
Yes.
Sorry. Last year we had a chart out that it was about $5 million for the sewer system. It made up of a number of different things. It was $2.1 million for the drip field. It was $780,000 for the secondary line. It was $600,000 for a new pumping station on the other side of Dartmouth. It was a couple of upgrades to lift stations for $400,000 each. And then there was I&I for $300,000 and $400,000. It all came up to about five, something like that. And we were going to do a couple of things. We were going to raise the rates, which we did last year. And then we were going to raise them again in 2012, which we didn't do. And then we were going to also borrow 1.5 to 2.5 million to cover what we thought was going to be the 2.1 million for the drip field. We were going to go from a spray field to a drip field, because we were told that was better technology. What has happened with the new management is we've taken a relook at everything, because part of that was under the impression that we could only spray 540,000 gallons a day. That had been our average. Through the new management, we got up to 650,000. So we didn't need as big a field to build. Okay? We didn't need, because we did 2 upgrades to the pumping stations, we found out we can do for 200,000 each, not 400,000. By doing those, we can divert the 780,000 that we thought we'd have to do this year. So all those things made us say we have to relook at the whole project. Okay, and we can't put in a fee increase this year because we don't know what it's going to be. Okay, we know there's going to be an increase, but it's not going to be what we told you a year ago. And the plan has changed. So now we have a membership committee, which we didn't have before, helping Tim out to assess what our problems are. We know we're going to have to do something with the drip field. We know it's going to cost money. And we've had some ridiculously high bids that we threw out that went from 4.7 to $6.7 million. We threw them out. We got one back that was for 3.1 million. We threw that out because now we've learned that we can do some different engineering tactics that will save us more money. So we're in a flux. We don't know what the amount's going to be. We're hoping it's going to be less than the 3.1 million. We know we can defer a number of our projects, but we didn't put it in the plan or raise your rates because we don't know what it is. But we need a few months to decide what it is. We just need some time. We know something has to be done. We know the state regulators, who Tim is working with, and we really have an excellent relationship with them now. But we have to do something. We just don't know the extent of what it is. So that's an update from what happened last year to where we are now.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Does that explain it, or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I have another question about roads. The money that you have projected for road maintenance, is that taking into account doing it with our own personnel or with a company, a professional company?
The paving we do with an outside contractor because we don't have the equipment or the manpower to do that. The chip and seal we do with our own personnel.
Well, I'm thinking mainly of the patching that you do. It's very poor. You know, apparently you don't have compactors or rollers or anything that you need to do a repair properly. And it's just a sinful waste of time and money to do what you've been doing in the past. And I look at that money and I'm hoping that it's going to be done well and not poorly as it has been in the past.
Yep. And that goes to quality right on.
Absolutely.
So that's something we'll definitely look at for especially the large patches to potentially do with outside contractors. So, Tim, anything you want to address on that one? Tim's a lot more familiar with it than I am.
I mean, I think a lot of the patching you're seeing is basically deferring paving until some day in the future. So
it's not an improvement over what it was when they repair it.
Well, if we don't do the patch now, you could have some base failures in the future. So when you see some patching on some of these paved roadways, it's basically stating that we're hoping that that road will be repaved the following year, and the patch will get us through the winter months where you could have some major freeze, thaw type activities. So I agree, some of the patching doesn't look that great, and I'm going to be working on that with some of my crews. However, I do believe with the manpower and the kind of equipment we have today, it's an improvement over just having a hole in the ground. And I don't think anybody wants that. So.
Check Fairfield Drive. Fairway Drive is a pitiful example.
And that is one of the roads on our hit list for next year to look at repaving. So come March, April, when we get through the winter months, we'll be looking at all the paved roads, all the chip and seal roads, and see how they fare throughout the winter. And then we'll set up a priority list on which roads haven't been done in a long time, which ones need the most improvement. You got to remember too that these are county roads, and due to the limited revenues we get from the county at this point, we're only able to do maybe 3 to 3.5 miles of paved road a year, where the county's maybe only doing a mile. So you know, I think with our resources, with our revenues, with the county's revenues, we're hoping to step that up over time.
We'll look forward to it.
My name is Bob Sharkey, and relative to the roads, I guess we've heard ongoing rumors that Good Sam is going to be held accountable for some of the road repair and maintenance dollars. You know, with the wear and tear over the last 2 years of that heavy trucking going on, are you holding them accountable?
First, I got here in the middle of all that, so you know, I have not come to that conclusion. Nobody's forced my hand on that conclusion yet, so you know, it's something I think Bob and I and maybe the board want to look into. I agree that, you know, that road is in bad shape, and once again, that's another road on our hit list for next year. You know, it gets back to, it is a county road. You know, do we have the authority to hold a property owner or a developer accountable if it's not our road system? So I think a lot of those come to that end. Can we get the county to help out on that? You know, I don't know. We need to look at that. But I agree. You know, you're going to have that anytime you have construction ongoing in a community. You're going to have issues like that. And I've had that everywhere else I've been. So.
Okay, and I appreciate it's the old management, but it's just kind of befuddling to me that, you know, we donate this property to Good Sam, and we know there's going to be heavy trucking taking place on the community roads. And I would have thought, hindsight being what it is, that we would have held them accountable for some dollars, you know, to repair the roads. But I guess the second question I've got is, I understand the importance of budgeting every year, but how come the survey results aren't going to come out until mid-January after the budget's been approved? Are you going to be able to tie in the dollars for the budget from the input to the community, from the community?
Well, the survey is really for strategic planning purposes, to try and get a sense of what is important to the residents as it relates to amenities, as it relates to infrastructure, et cetera. So it really is going to help us finalize the strategic plan, which is really more of a long-term plan than just 2012.
Okay, and one last question. Are we using the same consulting company to the wastewater treatment facility that presented last year?
Yes. And when I came on board, you know, that was one of my charges, was to evaluate not only the sewer system but also the engineering company. And I find when I see it throughout the area and what they can continue to do for us, I am impressed. They are one of the leaders in the area, in this region, to do that. I think a lot of it came down to maybe some direction they were giving on as far as which way to go. It was a reaction to a lot of issues that the state brought down on us. And so I don't, in my personal opinion, I don't believe McGill, which is the engineering company in question, should be held accountable for some of the direction they were given in the past, I guess. So, you know, I'm hoping that with my background and the help of what the wastewater committee that we've just created, which is, you know, got a board liaison, it's got some experts that actually live in this community. I think with the help from them and moving forward, that and with McGill's help, that we'll come to the right conclusion. I can guarantee that.
Okay, thanks. And the other thing is, I'd just like to thank you. I think it was a good presentation. I think it was presented very concisely and informative, so thank you.
Well, thank you. It was a good team effort here, a lot of input. That's fun.
Just one thing, on that land that Good Samaritan has, Fairfield Glade Club didn't donate that land to me. Okay, there was a Wyndham.
Right.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Charlie Larkin. I want to echo this gentleman's thank you to everyone who was involved in the presentation this morning. The hard work is obvious, This is a great place to live, and we appreciate your attention to keeping it that way. Second thing, if I may plug Neighborhood Watch. I'm a member of the Neighborhood Watch Board. We have a meeting that's occurring Wednesday, December 14th, 1 o'clock at United Methodist Church. The sheriff is going to come and make a rather extensive presentation. We see ourselves as an asset here to maintaining the quality of life that you, Bob, mentioned earlier. So please get some thoughts to attending. Thanks.
Definitely. Thank you for your comments. And I agree, Neighborhood Watch is very important. It's really helps Charlie and his team out greatly to have residents keeping an eye on their neighbors. So I encourage y'all to become a part of that program and help your neighbors. Any other questions? Okay.
Dennis Quammen. Does Good Samaritan basically have a carte blanche? They pay for the let's say, using our sewer. I mean, I went up there and I thought they'd have their own sewer system out there somewhere, taking care of their own waste. Is all that sewage from Good Samaritan be dumped in our system?
Yes.
If it is, are they paying to use our system?
They are. They are.
Because, you know, it was just a thought that occurred in my mind, and I didn't know, like the gentleman mentioned about the roads. They tore the roads up. I mean, they tore that Catoosa, and then when they patch it, they just threw around 2 inches and call it done. I mean, you know, you're driving, boom, 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 boom. They tore it apart. They should fix that. Now, you know, like you said, the county's involved, I don't know, but, and I just wanted to find out about the sewage.
Yes, yeah, they pay capacity fees and they pay service fees as well, so no different than any other homeowner. In fact, they pay at the commercial rates. Yeah, they actually pay at commercial rates. Okay, any final questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Bill Kalis. I attended some of the county meetings at the request of one of the commissioners, and we recently had a redistricting of the county, as some of you may know. Fairfield Glade is getting the short end of the stick on this, I think, because of our population, the expendable dollars that the people of Fairfield Glade contribute to the county. And I think somebody ought to be leaning on the county as a result of the redistricting. It's a little too late right now to contribute more money to some things like life safety, fire department, police department. The money that is given to the county right now with the additional revenues from Food City, other things here too, is considerable. I understand the county just gave their employees about $1,800 a year raise, some of the full-time employees. So the county is in pretty good shape, and we ought to be leaning on the county to do more for us. If not, it's just in the fire department and the police department than what they do to offset our budgets on that.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, last call. All right, see you then. Well, thank you again for your attendance today. Really appreciate it. And please encourage your neighbors to go on the website this afternoon, probably later on this afternoon, or stop by the office and pick up some of the budget schedules.